everyone, and thank you for being here at Center 42. And more importantly, welcome to the Vault's first presentation, 1964.
The Vault is a program that brings past texts and writings for the Singapore stage to the attention of a contemporary audience. It is not strictly a revival program, as none of these pieces selected will be given a full staging or a production by and in Center 42.
The guiding principles for the Vault are remember, refresh, retell.
The remembering is not just to remember the past, but also to inspire us to relate the past to other aspects of our lives.
The refreshing asks all of us to look at these texts with fresh eyes, see something new in the old, bring something new to the old.
The retelling invites artists and practitioners to tell the stories of the past through the art they practice.
So, for those of you who came expecting a rehearsed reading of A White Rose at Midnight and When Smiles Are Done, you may be a little disappointed.
We will be reading some excerpts, but only those that triggered a response from us.
And today's lecture performance does not draw upon the mediations between art and pedagogy, reality and illusion, but on a more fundamental belief shared by both: communication.
But since 1964 is billed as a lecture performance, we have nominated Senior Lecturer of Theatre Studies at the National University of Singapore, Dr. Robin Loon, to start the presentation.
Very well. I'd like to start with a bit of historical context. A brief survey of the world in 1964. 1964 was a great year of change globally. Most notably, in 1964, the United States Congress passed Public Law 88-352. The provisions of this Civil Rights Act forbade discrimination on the basis of sex as well as race in hiring, promoting, and firing. Nelson Mandela and 7 others are sentenced on June the 12th, 1964, to life imprisonment in South Africa. The Palestine Liberation Organization, the PLO, was established in 1964. Ahmed Sukhari is the first leader, with Yasser Arafat as one of the founding members. Also in 1964, the United States Congress approved the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution after North Vietnamese torpedo boats allegedly attacked US destroyers. It gave US President Lyndon B. Johnson authorization without a formal declaration of war by Congress for the use of conventional military force in Southeast Asia. Also in 1964, the Summer Olympics are held in Tokyo, Japan. Sidney Poitier became the first black actor to win the Best Actor Oscar. The Beatles have 13 singles on Billboard's Hot 100 at the same time and hold the top 5 positions in the Billboard Top 40. BASIC, which is short for Beginner's All-Purpose Symbolic Instruction Code, an easy-to-learn high-level programming language, is introduced in 1964. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is published and written by Roald Dahl in 1964. Also in 1964, Marc A. Chavannes invents the bubble wrap. And perhaps most importantly, in 1964, Elizabeth Taylor marries Richard Burton for the first time. At home in Singapore, 1964 was the first full calendar year that Singapore was officially a state of Malaysia. In 1964, there were 2 playwrights who wrote, produced, directed, and on occasion even acted in original play scripts written in English. Their names were Lim Chor Pee and Goh Po Seng. Generally acknowledged as the pioneers of Singapore English language theatre, Lim and Goh struggled in their time and even in posterity to find an audience for their works. Theatre academic KKC asserts, I quote, "Singapore writers in English have always encountered the difficulties of those nurtured in a transposed culture and employing a non-indigenous linguistic medium. There is no common cultural heritage which facilitates the rapport or sense of community between the writer and his audience. This cultural and linguistic displacement is particularly grave in the province of playwriting. The dramatist's liaison with his audience is thus not only direct but immediate, and he has, above all else, to glean his material from a rapidly changing, complex society with a myriad of character types that are constantly multiplying into subtler and subtler variants. Ghulam Salwa Yusuf wrote in a 1982 essay, and I quote, "The English language playwrights came, as a rule, from the middle and upper middle classes. Many have received education up to university level or at teachers' training colleges abroad. Those belonging to the other streams generally hail from slightly lower levels. Their education generally completed at vernacular schools with little possibility of entering a local university. The clash of different educational systems in Singapore forms one of the major themes in the works of Lim Chor Pi and Gokul Singh. The racial compartmentalization brought about by historical and political factors is the root of this dilemma. The English language playwright cannot relate to those in other streams, thus they are cast into isolation. I propose we now read the two plays. We begin with A White Rose at Midnight.
I will read the part of Hua Min.
I will read the part of Qing Mei.
Why don't you sit down and make yourself comfortable? You don't mind if I laze in bed? It's my Sunday occupation.
Go right ahead, don't worry about me.